Hello everyone, FonderAxe03 here. Oh man! Wetrix is a 3D puzzle game like no other. I stumbled upon this game earlier this year for its interesting looking gameplay. I really hadn't seen anything else like it. Most of the time when I think of a puzzle game, I think of something flat like Tetris or Dr. Mario. You know, something with falling colorful geometric shapes on a two-dimensional plane. But Wetrix said no, that's not enough dimensions, and added a third one to get all wacky with us. Now, I know there are other 3D puzzle games out there, like, 3D Tetris, but I'm sure none of those are nearly as wet as Wetrix. And we all know the wetter a game is, the better it is. This game was developed by Z2 and published by Ocean Software, who are also known for publishing other wet classics such as Waterworld. They must really like water. Anyway, Wetrix was initially released on the N64 and was later brought over to the Dreamcast and Windows in North America and Europe. Japan and Europe also saw a Game Boy Color release of Wetrix, which is more of a cool downgrade than anything else. Wetrix also received a sequel on the PlayStation 2 called Aqua Aqua, which was published by a different company here in North America because I guess Ocean Software just wasn't wet enough for Z2. The version we'll be looking at today is the N64 version, which I actually own the box for. It tells me on the front cover that it's a sure bet that I'll be playing this game for more than 40 days and 40 nights.
Hey, wanna make a bet?
The back cover boasts about how addictive it thinks it is and tells me that I can't leave my home for the next 6 months. What else is new? So what is Wetrix? Well, I'll try my best to explain it. You see, you got this slab here called your landscape, and various different pieces fall on it over time, kinda like Tetris. One of these pieces are water bubbles, which bring flash flooding to your landscape. Now, in order to stay alive in this game, you gotta keep as much water as possible on your landscape. This little meter on the side called the drain fills up whenever you spill water off of your landscape, and when it fills up, it's game over, so don't do that. But Fonder, I hear you cry, how do I keep water from spilling off my landscape? Well, that's where uppers come in. There are these little red arrows that can be placed down to build up land. Now, uppers are very versatile. You can make dams, fix holes, build reservoirs, solve world hunger, literally anything's possible with uppers, including earthquakes. Yeah, you got this second meter to worry about that fills up every time you build more land. When it reaches maximum capacity, an earthquake occurs, which demolishes a lot of your progress and can easily make the drain overflow. Fortunately, there is a remedy to this, and they're called downers, which do the exact opposite of uppers. Yeah, they deconstruct land, which can be pretty useless sometimes, but I'm glad it's an option. Heck, I'd definitely take this over its meaner cousin, the bomb. Not only does this deconstruct land, but it also pokes a hole through your landscape, which water just loves to leak out of. I usually just shove these in the corner of my square and fix it with the next upper. But be forewarned that this game gets really pissed off if you try to drop a bomb into a hole dug out by another bomb. Last but not least, we have the fireball, which evaporates water and racks up points. Like most puzzle games, this game is high score based, and you can receive points by placing down pieces and evaporating water. The amount of points you receive is multiplied depending on the number of reservoirs on your landscape, or lakes as this game puts it. Anyway, you randomly receive one of the 5 pieces throughout the game, and every now and then certain random elements will be thrown in to shake things up. Not literally. These random elements include a rainbow multiplier that will appear and multiply your points if you secure enough water, ice cubes that will occasionally spawn in and freeze any water it touches. Placing water bubbles on ice will just cause it to freeze with the rest of it, but don't worry, you can thaw it out with fireballs. Mines will also occasionally spawn in your lakes and will blow up if you try to evaporate the lake that it's in. So don't do that. There's also the Smart Bomb, which you can receive by leveling up with at least 5 lakes. These allow you to completely reset your landscape while maintaining your score. Basically, it's a panic button. And last but not least, we got these cute little rubber duckies that will spawn in any lake that is at least 2 layers of land deep. These little guys will multiply your points for you, so the more rubber ducks the better. The game also gets faster as you level up. I just thought I'd mention that. Now, with all these elements combined, it can be pretty difficult to manage everything at first. But the more I got my feet wet with this game, the more successful I became. Over time, I learned how to prepare myself for the hazards that later levels had in store for me. I also figured out my own strategies for sculpting my landscape, and certain actions became instincts. Like turning the corner of my landscape into scorched earth. I could feel myself improving each time I played, which was very rewarding. Like initially, I would build a perimeter around my entire landscape and just make it into one big lake. But I soon learned that it's harder to rack up points that way because the water is more spread out, meaning you're less likely to receive point multipliers. But building more lakes is riskier because it gets harder and harder to evaporate all that water given how uncommon fireballs are, and you're also at a greater risk of an earthquake. It's a big risk-reward situation, and I think that's really smart game design for a puzzle game. Now, this game's biggest flaw has to be its controls, and that's mostly due to how it's aged. This game uses the N64 analog stick to move pieces, which, being the N64 analog stick, isn't very precise. You can use the D-pad instead of the analog stick, but it's a lot slower, and if you want to be good at Wetrix, you gotta be fast. And as far as how addicting this game is, I haven't gotten addicted to this game yet. In fact, I've only been able to play it in short bursts. As cool and unique as it is, it gets stale fast. Outside of filming this video, I've only been able to get about 3 games in each play session before getting bored. That doesn't mean I dislike this game, I just don't see myself marathoning it. It's like an arcade game. Your average Joe is not going to be playing Dig Dug for 3 hours straight. Of course, the game does have other modes to try out when you're sick of Classic Mode, and these range from Wetrix but harder, Wetrix but for babies, and Wetrix but timed or with a limited number of pieces. Yeah, these aren't that different from Classic Mode, and I'd prefer to play Classic Mode over pretty much all of these. But I will say, Practice Mode is the place to go if you're just starting out. The pieces don't fall automatically in this mode, which gives you more time to figure out where you want them to go. But if you are a soaked Wetrix veteran like me, this mode can go on for a while. Overall, I like Wetrix, mostly because it's the most unique puzzle game I think I've ever stumbled upon. There's truly no other game like it, and I kind of love it for that. I would definitely recommend this game to anyone looking for a quick, pick-up-and-play, arcade-style 3D puzzle game that's relatively cheap for the N64. My only regret with this game is that I don't think I got enough mileage out of it. Like, I feel like I could have been more immersed into Wetrix. And you know what? I'm gonna fix that. Oh man!